So as the president decides whether to go to The Hague or not, let's go back a little bit and look at the history of this case. We've been hearing about it now and again coming up. Well, the ICC. But how exactly is this case progressing? Can you tell us a bit about that, Edith?
Well, to figure out how it's progressing, we have to find out where it started from. And that's precisely what I'm doing, giving you a timeline of how far we've come in terms of ICC. It's a word or a phrase or abbreviation we've heard since 2008, actually, not 2009 as indicated there. February of 2008, the initial markings of ICC in Kenya. This is when the Office of the Prosecution said that they were going to conduct what they called a preliminary investigation into the post-election violence. At this time, you'll remember in October of that same year, 2008, the Waki Commission released their report, which also included a much talked about sealed envelope, which allegedly contained names of those who were highly responsible or most responsible for the post-election violence. Now, Waki did say that if the country had not set up a tribunal in 6 months' time, he would forward that envelope to the ICC. Whether or not that happened, we will never really know. And then we skip until November 26, 2009. Ocampo files a request to open investigations into Kenya. Now, this is almost a year after he had indicated interest in the country. And at this time, he made his request, and it was not until 4 months later that the trial chamber actually issued a decision that there was reasonable basis to start a case in the country. Fast forward again to December 15th, 2010, Ocampo requests the issuance of summonses to appear for Ocampo 6. We will all remember this day, the faces on our screens. Ocampo was basically saying to Uhuru Kenyatta, Francis Mudhaura, he was also saying to the Deputy President, Major General Hussein Ali and Henry Kosgei and Joshua Sang, that I am coming after you. That is the indication he gave in December 15th of 2010. And then we move to 2011, the years are progressing and now a lot more is happening. On March 8th of 2011, the pretrial chamber 2 issued the summonses to appear. So the 6 knew that they had to make it to The Hague. Without wasting any time, the Kenyan government 23 days later said that the Kenyan government, the Kenyan government, without skipping a beat, filed an application challenging the ICC jurisdiction over the ICC cases. Let's not forget that as they're doing this in 2011, in 2009, Parliament had actually rejected a proposal to have a local tribunal in the country, which would have seen Kenyan judges as well as international judges sort out this issue of post-election violence. Let's move forward to January 23rd, and that's in 2012. The pre-trial chamber 2 confirms the charges, specifically of Uhuru Kenyatta, whose case we're looking at right now. This was on January 23rd. On January 26th, President Uhuru Kenyatta, at the time Finance Minister, resigned from his position, but he still maintained his position as a Deputy Prime Minister. And then we moved to 2013. Last year, the prosecution requests a 3-month postponement. But before that, January 23rd, 2012, Trial Chamber 5B rules on excusal from trial. Should actually be 2013, when Uhuru Kenyatta had already been to trial and he was now requesting for time away because of his exceptional duties as the president, of which he was granted. At the time, politicians were saying that, look, there's no way you can run a country if you have to be back and forth between Kenya and The Hague. And then December of 2013, prosecution requests a 3-month postponement. Now, this came as a shocker to a lot of people who had been following the case, because Ocampo 2 years earlier had said, we will make an example out of Kenya. And here, Fatou Bensouda was saying that she didn't have enough evidence and requesting for an additional 3 months. October 7, 2014, this is when the case against Uhuru Kenyatta should have ideally started, having been pushed from February 5th. But now it won't, because Fatou Bensouda once again has said that the Kenyan government is not giving me adequate cooperation. But the Kenyan government has gone to The Hague and said, look, we've given you everything we can. And so it now remains to be seen what will happen with Fatou Bensouda and the case, and whether or not, as you've asked, President Uhuru Kenyatta will appear at The Hague.
Right. It's been a rather long and protracted process.
Long and protracted. And there's a lot of things that I haven't mentioned. So those are just the key highlights of what's been happening since 2008, February.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Edith Kimani there. Me. And don't forget, you can weigh in on our discussion this evening. We're asking you whether you think that the president should skip the ICC session, as suggested by some leaders.